to Show Up, Stand Out Online Visibility Series for Entrepreneurs. My name is Juliette Stapleton. I am your host, known as the Queen of Visibility. Today, I have an amazing guest. I'm very, very proud to introduce you to Selena Soo. Selena is a publicity and marketing strategist for visionary entrepreneurs, experts, and authors who want to reach millions with their message. She's helped clients and students get featured in places like the Oprah Magazine, Forbes, and Inc., and land interviews on popular podcasts and national TV. And many of Selena's clients have become industry leaders with seven-figure businesses, raving fan bases, and hundreds of thousands of followers. Does it sound like something you want to achieve one day? I know I am definitely on a mission to get that. So that's why I'm so excited to introduce you to Selena. Hi, Selena. Welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone. And hi, Juliette. I am just so thrilled and honored to be here. So thank you.
I have a question. I'm just going to sort of cut to the chase. So you have yourself, have impacted millions, and then through your clients, probably much more. And yet you seem so real and quiet and approachable. So how did someone like you achieve something like that?
Yeah. Wow. That's a big question, but I can share, how I started my business and where that passion really came from.
Perfect.
So in my mid-20s, I had a quarter life crisis, and I was working at a nonprofit making about $42,000 a year, but I was also, in a bad relationship, and I had low self-esteem, and I got to this place where I became very depressed and had trouble eating and getting out of bed, and I just wanted to find a way to feel better. And a friend of mine recommended this female life coach. And I joined this life coaching group program where we'd meet in person and we would sit around a circle every Wednesday. And I got exposed to all these incredible experts and authors. And I just felt like, a lot of us, we suffer for different reasons. Maybe we don't like our job. We have no sense of purpose. We're in a terrible relationship. Maybe we're going through a health crisis. But I realized that, there's the number one thing that helped me was having these people that I could look up to that served as role models, because we don't just need information on how to fix our problems. We also need inspiration. And these experts, these authors, these personalities provided that for me. And so I just am really passionate about helping people get out of their suffering, whatever that may be. And so that's why I do this publicity work. It's not because I'm the kind of person that wants to constantly grab the microphone or be in the spotlight, because I'm the opposite of that. But I just really think that it's so important for us to get more role models out there. And I think that we need diversity. That's why I'm so passionate about supporting women of color or people from all different backgrounds, walks of life, and experience. I just think it's the number one way to help people create a better life. And I'm just so passionate about that.
I love the fact that you sort of touched upon the diversity. For me, I grew up in a very white community. I grew up in Soviet Union and Estonia, and that was something that I was missing. My ideal world is world without boxes. And I love to see people from different backgrounds, people who bring different, flavor of culture. And that's where, I'm at my happiest, so absolutely just like you. I don't think that doesn't matter what your background is, doesn't matter what you were told all your life. Sometimes if you feel the calling, it's important that you follow the calling, and people like Selena, or if that's something that if you want to be visible with your business or whatever you decide, it's so important that you're not listening to anything and making any excuses no matter what, right?
True. Yeah. No. And for visibility, like the people that I support, it's not just for vanity's sake. There's a real mission and purpose for why we're getting out there. I know that you're very much aligned with that. So yeah, I'm excited to jam with you because I know that you help people take those first steps to get visible. And what I love doing is elevating them on an even higher level with publicity specifically. So yeah, exciting stuff.
Yes, this is real. It's a great kind of continuation, because obviously there's certain things like I do love, and the next question is exactly what I do for people, which help them gain confidence with visibility. Everybody's looking for strategies, but everybody is really facing difficulties with fears, and they need inner work, and they need to step into that bigger version of themselves, even to just start doing, you know, live streams. We're not even talking about Oprah Magazine yet. But yet this brings me to this question for you personally, and with your experience with clients going to that sort of level, what sort of mindset that people need to, or that you've adopted perhaps, to overcome that fear of visibility? Because I've heard you saying before that you are an introvert, that you weren't comfortable with public speaking. Now you're speaking on stages all over the world. So what was that mindset shift that helped you?
Absolutely. So I want to share a story and some of the most powerful mindset shifts that came from that. So when I started my business several years ago, my first client was just a raving fan of mine. And she's like, Selena, I want to share your message with my audience. And I remember freezing up and thinking, okay, I'm all about like promoting other people. Like I'm the behind the scenes person. So I was very uncomfortable. But then there was a part of me deep down that was like, you know, maybe I can do this, or this would be cool. And this is someone that believes in me and supports me. So I said yes to this video interview opportunity, which was on Skype. And I was really nervous leading up to the interview. And after the interview, I remember being like, nervous as well and wanting to watch a copy of the recording. And so I watched it with my interns. And at the time I was in Toastmasters and I was working on my filler words. So they were like writing down my you knows, and all of that. And at one point I was at 137 filler words. And I was like, you guys can just stop counting. This was clearly a disaster. I totally screwed this up. I can't release this interview. And one of my interns said, you know, Selena, honestly, I don't think it's as bad as you think. I actually thought it was a really good interview. And it just really stunned me. And I thought, what if she's right? And so I sent the interview to my email list and was anxiously awaiting people's responses. And hours later, I got several responses back and people were like, that was great. We've never seen you on video before. I love that story. That was great advice. And so coming away from that, I learned 4 things I want to share with your listeners. So number 1 is that we're always our own worst critic. So for me, rather than being like, Selena, congratulations, a huge step forward, I was like, basically, let me watch this interview and like literally record all the times I screw up. I was just focused on the negative, the you knows, versus really understanding the bigger picture, seeing that bigger picture. So we're really hard on ourselves. Number 2 is that, you know, when we're getting started, and we all get started at a certain place, we're not going to be as good as the people we look up to. Maybe we've got our favorite, you know, person who has that TED talk or author or speaker, but we forget that they've been doing this for years and years. So it's not just being our own worst critic, but also don't be overly harsh on yourself because you haven't given yourself a chance to rise to that level. Number 3 is the only way that we can get better is actually doing the work. We can tell ourselves, oh, that person just seems like she's born for the camera. Oh, it's so easy for them, but it's hard for me because I'm an introvert, because of X, Y, Z. But trust me, all these people that have made it to the big leagues, they've hired coaches and mentors. Maybe they had a writer help them with their talk. They've all gotten support. And so we may have this vision of where we can see ourselves being, but the truth is we're never going to get there unless we are comfortable with like, we're not going to be that great. We got to take imperfect action. We've got to invest in support to get to that level. And then the last big mindset shift for me was really that it was kind of like a self-centered thing where I'm like, oh, how do I look? How do I sound? Because I was also like, wow, I'm just talking too fast. I've got terrible eye contact. I don't look confident. But why are any of us doing the thing that we're doing? It's because we want to make a difference in someone's life. We want to help them. And so taking the focus off of you and and then onto the people you want to serve. So today, if I do an interview and let's say, Juliette, I messed up or something, you know, I don't even care anymore because the thing is, I just ask myself, did I show up? Did I give it my all? Did I add value? And if the answer is yes, then I did a great job and I can move on because I accomplished the thing that I was here to do, which is to add value to more people.
And I love it. And in fact, while listening to you, and guys, if you're following me and you know, I am saying all these 4 things, you know, don't be critical on yourself. Just stop. I once had a video, and that was recently, where I had 25 you knows. I'm doing this for 3 years. And you know what? I do not care because this is a conversation, especially on live video. It's different if we were doing like a properly recording promotional video or something. That's a completely different thing. So you need to understand the medium as well. So sometimes when you're doing an interview, 2 women sharing with each other, you know, on the same mission, So it's okay if we say ums and and you knows, and we don't have to be critical, because at the end of the day, this is what brings me to your fourth point. You're putting all attention on you. And that not just selfish, but also it just stops you from progress. It really stops you. You have to be bigger than yourself in order to do anything. You know, if you want to go and win a bikini bodybuilding contest, imagine how much work and how much effort you would have in pain you'd have to put in and push some, you know, it won't be about how you, or, you know, well, it is still about you, but it's about you in a bigger version of you, whatever it is for you. And I absolutely love that. And I think that so basically this means that at whatever level you are right now, these are the things that you need to release yourself from or focus on. I also really loved the fact that you mentioned that people on a higher level, they also hire help. So
Yes.
we look at somebody and say, this was an amazing speech. And we never for a moment think, and sometimes like think presidents and think, you know, they have their speeches written. Yeah. So I'm not saying that everybody who we follow, you know, motivational speakers have their speeches written, but a lot of them do get help. And as you grow and as your business grows, you're available of more help and coaching and direction from professionals. And it's okay. That's how it should be, you know, in order for you to perfect yourself. So I absolutely love it. And this brings me then to this next level of where, you know, I can get somebody comfortable to do video and connect to people, but we want to scale our businesses. We want to scale our visibility because we want to make that impact. There is a certain level where you are making money and money is not an issue, because a lot of people start from that scarcity mindset. They want to just have financial security. Then you really step into that, I want to help people. And you can only help people when they see you. Right. And as you mentioned in the beginning, there are some key people in your life sometimes that you watch, and you'd watch something, or you hear somebody say something, or you read somewhere that somebody said something, and that changes your life. I've had those kind of moments in my life too. So how do we elevate then? And that brings me to the word publicity, which I think a lot of people don't understand.
Yes. Yeah, so let me explain like what publicity is. So publicity is about you being promoted on media platforms or influencer platforms. So, you know, when you think about media, you may think of magazines, TV, websites, but it's also podcasts that influencers run. It's when they are sharing your work with their email list. It's when they're also inviting you to speak to their mastermind group or membership site. I really feel like influencers are the new media. So it's all about someone, a media outlet or influencer that has that know, like, and trust factor and a strong brand that can elevate you and spread your message to more people. So I really believe that every entrepreneur needs publicity. And I think sometimes people think, well, I need to wait until the perfect website, or maybe I need to have hit a certain revenue level. Why would someone want to talk to me when there are best-selling authors and internet superstars and 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs? But the thing is that, you know, there is a great need for experts, and they're looking for diversity. And people also want someone they can relate to. So for some people, they're not going to want that expert that has been in business for 10 or 20 years. They want someone who was in their shoes just 1 or 2 years ago. And what publicity does is, you know, because it's one thing for you to tell the world, hey, I'm the best at what I do, hire me, right? But it only goes so far if you're the only person saying it. But if you have other influencers, media platforms, that high level of trust and that brand, elevating you, lifting you, and spreading that message, leveraging your message so it's reaching a lot of people, whether it is 200 people, 10,000 people, 1 million people, that's so powerful for your business. And I want everyone to have that.
And that's amazing as well. And what you said about, you know, sometimes maybe you can be just relatable to a certain person more than somebody else. Yes, it could be that somebody else has more social proof, and that somebody else has more experience being visible, doing what they're doing. But people might just completely relate to your personal energy. And I am such a big ambassador of saying that's why I think we should be visible, because our unique energy is competition free. And so people fall in love. I know I have crushes on people. There are certain people I follow and I secretly have a crush on them. And I know it's like an addiction. I go through this, I love them, then I kind of have to withdraw myself, then I love them again. And it's a crazy relationships, but it's because of their personal, who they are. And then it's what they teach. And, you know, it comes as a second thing. So in a way, when you're showing up and you are shining that light of yours, that unique light of yours, that's where you get a chance to attract so many people, no matter how oversaturated your industry might be. And no matter how many amazing people could be inside that niche that you're in, because again, people work with people that they relate to, that they can resonate with your story and you. And so this is for me, I feel like this is one of the ways why, one of the reasons why we kind of have a duty to spread the word. And then the other thing that brings me to that, you attract people who you absolutely, super compatible with. Did you experience in your life, and when you started doing video, that the quality of people that you attracted just because you were more visible on video started changing, as opposed to other ways of promoting yourself?
Well, I would say video is huge because you talked about you having crushes on certain people. And I think that you can really feel like you know someone's true character and just how they come across when they are on video. So it definitely has helped me develop that deeper relationship. Although I will admit that for me, it wasn't until I was maybe 4 or 5 years into my business, I started doing video just because I was terrified. But now I'm a lot more comfortable, and I'm so glad that I do it.
Yes, me too. Me too, because you've been doing such an amazing job. And I would say in 2020 and onwards, without video, it's becoming sort of, it's a must embrace kind of platform or tool for your visibility, because, there's so much we can do with video. We have Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live. There's so many people we can reach, even just on social media with video. So that's one of the things. But it's only a small part, because I know that there's other things. The publicity is something a bit much bigger hat than that. And we were talking about publications, and I get a lot of objections with people saying, well, why do I have to be published in magazines? And they don't seem to be able to prioritize this. And
well,
I
the
see
thing is they don't have to, because everyone needs to figure out what kind of media makes sense for them, right? So there's a lot of options. There's websites, there's podcasts, there's magazines, there's TV, there's Facebook Lives that you could do with someone. There's speaking to someone's group, so it goes on and on. You need to figure out what publicity is going to move the needle for you, because if your ideal client doesn't know about a particular magazine or read it, then what's the point? So it really has to make sense. So it's just figuring out what works for you.
I love that. That's a very sort of, down to earth advice. And also what you mentioned, you just think about where your ideal clients can find you. And a lot of times it's just has no point to be there. But I know that you're also releasing an amazing checklist, publicity checklist.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit. What's inside that?
Yeah, I'm so excited because I really believe that every entrepreneur deserves and can get publicity, but oftentimes they just don't know where to start. So we have a checklist with several things that they can do to really set themselves up for massive success. So I encourage everyone to download that checklist, because even as you just start reading it, I know that people are going to start getting ideas. There's going to be aha moments, and that's going to be the first step to unlocking some really exciting visibility for their business.
And what's the first step? What I have had suffered with downloading a checklist, and there's loads of things. I actually think I had your checklist a couple of years ago. I downloaded one of your
checklist. It wasn't this one.
Oh, but yes, I'm sure.
I'll give like a sneak preview. But the first step is mindset. Because the thing is, if your mind is right, you're not going to get the opportunity. We may look at people and be like, wow, why is she being interviewed by Oprah or Dr. Oz? Why was she selected to be on that stage or whatever? And the thing is, there's a difference. The people that are getting opportunities are the ones that are putting themselves out there. They're sending pitches, they're building relationships, they're showing up. It's not because they're smarter or prettier or their ideas are better. It's because they're showing up, right? But if your mindset is blocked so that you're afraid to show up and put yourself out there, then these opportunities are never going to happen. So that's step number one. And a lot of the checklist, a big part of it is helping with the mindset piece as well as some other elements.
I love that. And I think that that's the best thing. Guys, you can just click on the link in the description to this video if you're watching us on Facebook, or in the show notes of the podcast if you're listening us on the podcast. And definitely go and download the checklist and start changing that perception, because, you know, you see what it's done to Selena and what it's doing to Selena's clients. I have gone through all the same mindset shifts, and I swear I would have not changed all the pain, all the struggle before I started putting myself out there. That was, you know, feeling so overwhelming, and it was so scary. But when you just go through it very quickly, you start adjusting and things start happening, and that is the most amazing reward, when you see that things and magic is happening on the other side. Selena,
exactly. I feel like getting publicity and the visibility that you talk about, it's honestly part of unlocking your potential as an entrepreneur and a human being, making your biggest impact. So it's not just about like, oh, my name was mentioned in this article, or I did this podcast interview, which, I mean, that can be huge for your business, but there's something even deeper and bigger than that.
Well, I love that you mentioned that, because I see a lot of that strategies. And as you said, it's okay to drop names sometimes, because at a certain level, maybe that's what elevates you. But there's definitely a bigger level ahead. And I think that, you know, they say if you want to make your dreams come true, don't just focus on what you want. Focus on the point beyond what you immediately want. And you know, and it's kind of aligned. So I think that it's always important to see the next step as well. And I'm glad that you were able to sort of elevate that, show to us where to aim at. Thank you so much for being my lovely guest today, Selena. I really enjoyed it, and I loved everything that you said. I'm a testament to certain extent of you know, the mindset shifts and what visibility can do to you, what publicity can do to you. Writing for me changed my brand. Being on video, doing interviews changed my brand. Having my show changed my brand, and everything is adding up to that dream of mine that I'm working myself. So I want this for you guys, and please grab that checklist and start changing your mind and start changing your life. Thanks again, Selena.
Thanks, Juliette.
And guys, I'll see you next week on another episode of Show Up, Stand Out, Stay Visible.